Welcome to the Colt AR-15 resource. After several requests, I've decided to do a video where we discuss in detail the features of both the Colt R0633 upper receiver and the Liemohn Manufacturing reproduction right here. So what we're going to cover first is we're going to look at the charging handle and the bolt assemblies for both guns. So let me get that set up and I'll be right back. All right, so what I have up top here is the bolt, charging handle, firing pin from the Colt example. And then down here is the charging handle, bolt, firing pin from the Liemohn Manufacturing reproduction. So charging handles, there's no significant difference. The anodizing on the Liemohn Manufacturing charging handle is a little rougher. It's not as smooth as the Colt example, but you know, the Colt example having been actuated several times may account for some of that texture difference. Construction similar. Again, as we look at these parts, keep in mind there's about 30 years difference between them. So the Colt bolt, it's got you can see that distortion in the finish. I'm not sure what's caused that. I don't know if it's an anodizing defect or something else. The bolt has not been fired, so I know it's not discoloration from being fired. Here's a Liemohn Manufacturing example here at the bottom. Color's great, fit of the parts is great. You notice a little bit of size difference in the holes here. The fasteners are a little different, but again, 30 years between examples. Somebody in one of my other videos was asking how these bolts are actuated if the carrier key is angled forward. And for those that are not familiar, the way the bolt is actuated by the charging handle, you see this lip down here, it rides in a little track right here. And so when the parts are mated together, the charging handle catches right at the base of the carrier key there, and that is enough rearward force on it to cycle the bolt in the upper receiver. So that's how that works. Overall, the Liemohn Manufacturing product looks great compared to the Colt example. Firing pins, there's a little bit of a contour difference. This is the Liemohn Manufacturing example on the left and the Colt example on the right. The Colt firing pin is shiny. You can see this step down here tapers, whereas the firing pin in the Liemohn Manufacturing example has a straight drop there. It doesn't taper down like the Colt firing pin does. Springs are a little different in appearance. They felt like they've got similar resistance characteristics, so I've got no reason to doubt that the spring on the Liemohn Manufacturing example meets the specifications. So that's a firing pin for each of those. Firing pin retaining pins, nothing of significance there to talk about. All right, let me get the bolts and charging handles out of the way and we'll look at the upper receivers. All right, so here we are to take a look at these upper receivers side by side. Detail that I thought was kind of neat is the uppers on both of these examples display the split A forge mark of Anchor Harvey Forge. You see it here on the Colt example, and then here it is on the Liemohn Manufacturing reproduction. So you've got these upper receivers from the same manufacturer, 30 years apart. Roughly 30 years. So one thing you can see here pretty well in this video image is the lighter gray anodizing of the Colt upper receiver compared to the Liemohn Manufacturing example. I like the black appearance of the Liemohn Manufacturing example, but I also like the legacy gray anodizing that's more popular with some people. Overall, I don't have a preference between the two. I do like how the black, is got the newer, more modern look to it. A little difference I noticed here in the propellant deflectors. You notice here on the Colt example at the top, the material used for that kind of has a mottled appearance similar to the old A1 grips. Whereas the material used in the Liemohn Manufacturing examples got even, consistent color. The lighting reflects off of it kind of odd, which makes it hard to really see, but there is a difference in material appearance and texture there. The ejection port doors and springs, there's no significant difference there. They look pretty similar. Look like pretty consistent quality between both of those. One thing I was really surprised to see, and I think it kind of speaks to the quality that Tom puts into his product, is the Delta ring on both of them. They look the same. One thing I did notice on the Delta rings is the Colt example, it was a little easier to compress the Delta ring on it than it was the Liemohn Manufacturing example. But that, again, is probably a result of, over the years, this has been compressed many times, where this example from Liemohn's brand new and hasn't been used much. The handguards, you can see the obvious difference there. The Colt ones are black and very smooth, slippery finish that you're used to on the old Colt firearms. One thing I like about the Liemohn Manufacturing example, I like the color. The color is good, but it also has kind of a aggressive, kind of a rough texture to it. So, holding on to it, you're going to have a more positive grip than with the old shiny Colt handguards. Moving forward to the shield on the front, there is a very, very slight dimensional difference between the Liemohn Manufacturing example at the bottom and the Colt example at the top. The Colt example is just slightly wider, but not by much. One thing I like about the Liemohn Manufacturing example is the gray parkerizing. The Colt examples kind of taken on a green color as it's aged. It's got kind of a greenish patina to it. It needs to be cleaned, so that's next on my to-do list, is to give the Colt upper a really good cleaning. You can see that they both have the chrome lining visible in the barrels. The Liemohn Manufacturing example comes with the sling swivel on it, whereas my Colt example did not. The Colt examples were put on the market both with and without sling swivel. The word is supposedly the Colt D.O.E uppers with no sling swivel is what went on to the commercial market. Ones with a sling swivel came through surplus. I can't verify that. That's just what I've heard. So looking down at these from the top, there's not really anything of significance to discuss there. They both have the long range and short range peep sights on the rear. Sight profiles are similar. They both have the flip up front sight design. Tom's example looks dead on to what Colt was using. Looks great. All right, looking at the left side of the upper receivers, we'll start from the right and work our way to the left. Nothing outstanding on either one of them. Both have nice even anodizing. The upper that Tom used on his, pretty much flawless. I don't see any issues with the anodizing. No variance in shade as you look at it. Again, the Colt example, you can kind of see that green patina that's taking place with the parkerizing. And then Tom's just got a really nice, even gray color to it. Looking at the bottoms, you see that both handguards have the same cooling hole profiles. They both have heat shields in them. I'll take those off here in a minute. We'll compare those side by side. Just not much to say about them, you know, looking at them from the bottom, but there's an opportunity for you to look at it. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to get these handguards off and we'll look at those in detail next. All right, let's take a look at the barrels and the handguards. So on the Liemohn Manufacturing example here, you see the barrel markings, LMI, CB, 9mm, NATO 1 and 10. The Colt example's got the markings in different places. You've got 9mm showing there on the top of the barrel. The right side of the barrel, it has the CMP and the CB for chrome bore. And then there is an O back here, barrel makers and chrome marking. So here's a Liemohn Manufacturing handguard. Here's a Colt example. The materials you can tell are different. As a result, the Colt material's got a little bit of modeling, a little bit of color variance to it. You can see it there as I rotate it in the light. It doesn't look bad, but the Liemohn Manufacturing example looks pretty good. It's a nice even coloring. Just a really good material, it seems. All right, you can see the heat shields here. Colt up top, Liemohn Manufacturing here at the bottom. Very similar designs. The rivets used on the Colt example seem to have, I don't know, there's something about the head on those rivets. It doesn't look maybe quite as durable as the newer ones on the Liemohn Manufacturing example. But very well done. I like what Tom did with whoever he's getting his handguards from. Very nice product in my opinion. Again, the Colt barrel markings, I know that's very important to some people to be sure about that. 9mm, CMP, CB, and then you've got that O back on the chamber. Liemohn Manufacturing, LMI, CB, 9mm NATO, 1 and 10. The Colt example does not have the rifling on it, so pat on the back to Tom for including that on his example. So let me get these put back together, and I'll be back with some final thoughts. All right, over the last 15 minutes, we took a detailed look at the Colt and the Liemohn Manufacturing R0633 submachine gun upper receivers, as commonly referred to as the DOE or Department of Energy upper receivers, because the submachine gun configuration was used for security duties. For the average firearm enthusiast, the Liemohn Manufacturing example, to me, in my opinion, is a great product offering that's available out there. The Colt example, if you can find one for sale, is going to run you in the neighborhood of $2,500 to about $3,000. Tom's product is a third of that. About the only potential negative I see with the Liemohn Manufacturing product, and I can't really call it a negative because what it comes down to is just consumer personal preference, but some people obviously are going to prefer the gray Colt upper compared to the black. And again, some are going to like the shiny old style, old material handguards compared to these new light gray ones. Overall, though, I can't really find a true negative or a true point of criticism for Tom's product. I'll admit, when I had the thing coming to me, I thought I wasn't going to like it as much as the Colt product, but now I'm considering buying this so that I have a shooter. To close things out, I wanted to address a couple of questions that were commonly asked in my other two videos. First, several of you have asked or suggested that Tom make a version with an extended muzzle that's threaded for suppressor usage. That is an option available. You just have to talk to Tom about what you want to get and let him know you want that option, and he can do that for you. Second, some of you have commented you can't find Liemohn Manufacturing's website. I reached out to Tom to get clarification on that, and he states that he does not have a website right now. He does have a Facebook page, and he can be reached through the Facebook page. I will put a link to that in the description. And also, I will provide a phone number for Tom in the description as well. So if you made it this far, I appreciate your time. I hope you have found some of the information in this video useful, or maybe answered some of your questions. If you have any additional questions, please post them down below, and we will see you next time on the Colt AR-15 resource.